Boom! Crunch! Shell.
Greetings. I am Monster D. Do you have any idea what a shell is? What might a shell be? And where would you find one? What would you find a shell on? Well, perhaps we will go through some drawings and we can figure out what this shell mystery might be. When you hear the word shell, what is your very first thought? Let's see here. Is a shell hard or is a shell soft? Is a shell wet or is a shell dry? Where do you usually go to find shells at? Just looking at all familiar to you? What kind of things have shells? Is this looking at all familiar? What is that right there? Is that something that moves slow? Or is that something that moves fast? Just a little bit of color right there. Is that a snail? See a snail? Where is the snail's shell? Is it there? Is it down there? Is that the shell? Ah. What does this shell do for a snail? Does it help the snail out? Does it help the snail to stay safe somehow? Do you think the shell is heavy for the snail? What kind of problems might a shell cause for something like a snail? Should I try something else with a shell? All right, let me see here. Let's see. Do you see snails very often where you live? Where do you think you'd have to go to see a snail? Do you think they come out at a certain time of the day? Or with a certain kind of weather? What do you think? There we go. Is this looking at all familiar to you? Do you think all shells look the same? Or are different shells different? What in the world could that be right there, huh? Is that strange? Is that a crab? Uh-oh. There goes the cap. I suppose the cap could be kind of like a shell, huh? What do you think? Is this a crab? Where is the crab shell? I mean, I did draw it on here after talking about shells, right? So he has to have a shell somewhere. Where is the crab shell? Huh? Did he leave it at home? Or is the shell the crab's home? Or maybe the crab is the shell itself. How about right there? Have you ever touched a crab before? What do you think the top of a crab feels like? Soft or hard? What about the snail shell? Is that hard as well? Do you think a snail shell and a crab shell feel similar? Interesting, huh? What else do you think might have a shell? Ooh, I have something. Let's see here. This might look familiar to you. What would you do with a shell if you had one? Did you do anything special or do anything different with it? Do you think you could move very, very fast if you had a shell on your back? What if it was a big, heavy shell? If something like that slowed you down, what would be good about having it anyway, huh? Is this looking at all familiar? What is that creature right there? Looking familiar? Is that a turtle? Turtles have shells. Do you see many turtles where you live? Do you know anyone who has a pet turtle? Where is the turtle shell? Is it up on its back? What do you think? It's a shell? Shell, shell, shell. Oh, look at that. 3 animals, 3 shells. Do only animals have shells? Or is there anything else that's not an animal have a shell? Ooh, I have something. Watch this. What is that right there? You ever seen one of those before? Is that an animal? Or is that something else? What is in there? Is that a peanut? Have you ever seen or held or perhaps even eaten a peanut before? Do you eat that part? What is that right there? Or actually, where is the shell? Or is that whole thing the shell, huh? Is a peanut an animal? What is a peanut? Is it a fungus? Is it a person? Is it a plant? Ah. So, not just animals have shells, huh? A plant can have a shell too. Very, very, very cool. Do you think that there are other plants and other non-animal, non-plant things that also have shells? How do you think the peanut shell is similar to the turtle shell, or the crab shell, or the snail shell? Which out of these 4 shells do you think is the hardest? Which do you think might be the weakest? And how many of these shells have you gotten close to or touched? Interesting, huh? Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed exploring shells with me. I hope you stay monstrous, and will you not please give me a nice monster? Bing!